myth of focus. They told you that you just need to eliminate distractions. Put your phone away, close the door, find a quiet space, and somehow focus will magically appear. But what if that's a lie? What if the real enemy isn't noise, but you? Because the truth is, the world has always been noisy. In ancient Rome, Seneca tried to write while street vendors yelled. Thieves were arrested outside his window, and children screamed in the courtyard. Yet he still wrote, brilliantly, deeply, relentlessly. So maybe the problem isn't the chaos outside, but the chaos inside. Focus isn't something you wait for. It's something you fight for. It's not the product of a perfect environment. It's a form of spiritual discipline, a battle, a test. In this video, we'll dive into 9 Stoic principles, hard-hitting, time-tested mental frameworks to help you build unshakable focus in the loudest, messiest moments of life. Because if you can focus there, you can focus anywhere. 1. The sound of Rome, the silence within. Imagine this. You're one of the most powerful men in the Roman Empire. You advise emperors. You write plays that echo through time. You invest, you negotiate, you lead. And yet, you sit at your desk, pen in hand, and you can't hear yourself think. Outside your window, a pickpocket screams as he's dragged away by guards. Children laugh, dogs bark, merchants shout over one another, selling olives and trinkets. From the bathhouse next door, the splash of bodies and the thud of weights rise like a tide. This was Seneca's world, and in a letter to his friend Lucilius, he describes this symphony of distraction not with frustration, but with resolve. I have had to toughen my nerves against that sort of thing, he wrote. I force my mind to concentrate, to keep it from straying to things outside itself. Seneca wasn't waiting for the world to quiet down. He was building silence from within. We all fantasize about a quiet retreat, a cabin in the woods, a perfectly organized workspace. But that's not reality. That's not life. And if your ability to focus depends on silence, on others behaving, on the stars aligning, you're already defeated. The Stoics teach us the real battlefield is internal. If you don't own your mind, someone or something will. You may be sure you are at peace with yourself, Seneca wrote. When no noise reaches you, when no word shakes you out of yourself, whether flattery or threat or just empty sound buzzing about. Focus isn't about the absence of sound. It's about presence. It's about stillness in the storm. So here's the test. Can you concentrate while the world roars? Can you stay with the page, the thought, the mission, while the noise rises? Because if you can, you've already won. 2. Real focus begins where the noise doesn't end. We often think of focus as a gift of quiet, as something that appears when the kids aren't yelling, the notifications aren't pinging, and the house is finally still. But the truth? If your focus depends on the perfect moment, it will never come. There's a reason some writers deliberately go to noisy coffee shops to work. Not because it's quiet, but because it's not. Because real focus isn't born from silence. It's forged in spite of the noise. Seneca didn't write in a soundproof study. He trained himself to hold his attention in the chaos of Rome. The Stoics called this kind of discipline ataraxia, a serene inner state, undisturbed by external commotion. If all outdoors can be bedlam, Seneca said, but it's peaceful in here, he pointed to his chest, then you're good to go. In modern life, we often say, I can't focus because it's too noisy. But Marcus Aurelius turned the question around. He asked himself, if someone stopped you right now and said, what are you thinking about? Could you answer clearly? Could you? Because that's the essence of internal discipline. Not just knowing what's on your mind, but directing what's on your mind. Like a spotlight, you choose where to shine. Let's be honest, distraction isn't just a problem of environment. It's a habit, a reflex. We scroll, swipe, check, wander not because we must, but because we've trained ourselves to. And that's what Stoicism calls us to confront. the subtle slavery of attention. If your mind is always elsewhere, who's really in charge? The algorithm? The latest crisis? That comment you can't stop replaying in your head? Real focus is resilience. It's the power to stay with what matters anywhere, anytime. Because if you can only lock in when the world is perfect, that's not focus. That's dependency. And the Stoic refuses to be dependent on anything outside their control. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I can't focus, pause and ask, or am I just surrendering to noise again? 3. The mind is a battlefield and they're coming for it. Let's not sugarcoat it. Your attention is under attack. Not in the future. Not in theory. Right now. Every scroll, every ping, every just one more is a battle lost. The Stoics didn't have smartphones, but they knew this war well. They called it the struggle for the self, the battle to stay awake, to remain your own master. Because here's the truth. No man is fit to rule others, Epictetus said, who is not first master of himself. But today, most of us aren't even ruling our own thoughts. They're ruled by apps, by advertisers, by the very systems that study your mind better than you do. Algorithms are not neutral. They are designed, intentionally engineered to steal your focus, to stir insecurity, to provoke outrage, to keep you reactive instead of reflective. They know your fears, your impulses, and every moment you're not directing your thoughts, they are. Ask yourself, if I'm not choosing what to think about, who is? If I'm not steering my mind, where is it being driven? This is not paranoia. This is clarity. Marcus Aurelius called the mind an empire, a vast inner dominion, a kingdom of thought, of intention, of choice. But an empire only lasts if it is governed. And too many of us have abdicated the throne. We've handed it over to distractions, to rage clicks, to endless content that leaves us informed, maybe but exhausted, disoriented, directionless. The Stoics urge us to reclaim command, to put up boundaries, to tune out so we can tune in, to stop being passive consumers of attention and become deliberate architects of awareness. Because if you lose the war in your mind, you've already lost the life that follows. 4. Morning is a sacred window. Use it or waste it. Let me ask you something simple but real. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Do you reach for your phone? Check messages? Scroll headlines? Fall headfirst into someone else's urgency? Or do you claim those first golden minutes for yourself, for your soul? The Stoics knew the way you begin determines everything that follows. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, recorded his internal dialogue when struggling to get out of bed. Ah, but it's so warm here. Were you made for comfort or for purpose? He wasn't just talking about blankets. He was talking about resistance. That daily pull toward ease, distraction, delay. And what he was reminding himself was this. You weren't born to coast. You were born to act. Toni Morrison once said she had to write before she heard the word mom for the first time each day. That was her quiet window, her sacred, uninterrupted zone where the soul had space to speak. That's what the morning offers if you take it. It's not just quieter because the world's asleep. It's quieter because you haven't been pulled apart yet. Your mind is clear. Your focus is renewed. It hasn't been fragmented by demands, notifications, or noise. But here's the danger. Focus is a finite resource. And if you spend it on things that don't matter, if you give your best self to your inbox, your feed, your worries, you'll have nothing left when it really counts. So the Stoic discipline is simple but ruthless. Do the hard thing first. Front load your deep work. Use your best energy on your highest task. Because your energy, like sunlight, fades as the day unfolds. And by 2 p.m., after meetings, emails, errands, and minor fires, you're not the same person who woke up with clarity. You've been scattered, thinned out, so choose wisely what you give your mornings to. They are your most precious mental currency. As the Stoics would say, You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow. 5. Do what only you can do and let go of the rest. Here's a question that cuts through the noise. Is this something only I can do? If the answer is no, then why are you doing it? It might still be important. It might still need to be done. But maybe it doesn't need to be you. This is how great leaders focus. Not by doing more, but by doing less with clarity, with precision, by focusing where they are irreplaceable. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of the most powerful empire on earth. He had wars to manage, laws to uphold, crises to respond to. But he still wrote, still reflected, still practiced self-discipline. How? Because he understood the difference between urgent and essential. He learned, as he said from Antoninus, how to use experts, how to delegate, how to not be everywhere. He who is everywhere is nowhere, the Stoics reminded us. The micromanager believes their attention must be everywhere. But that's not control, it's chaos disguised as leadership. Ryan once told a story about the founder of American Apparel. The guy was directing traffic in the parking lot of his company. Was it a real problem? Sure. But should he have been the one solving it? Absolutely not. That's not focus. That's distraction in disguise. If your energy is spread across 10 different fires, you won't have enough to light anything that matters. So here's your call to discipline. Start asking, is this where I create the most value? Is this the best use of my attention? Could someone else do this maybe even better than me? Because every time you say yes to something non-essential, you're saying no to your real work. The Stoic life is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most with ruthless intention. So stop proving you can do it all. Start focusing on the things only you can do, and trust that letting go of the rest. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. 6. The enemy of focus isn't chaos, it's busy idleness. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, that tells you the more you do, the more you are, that if you're busy, you must be important. But the Stoics saw through that illusion 2,000 years ago. Seneca had a name for it, busy idleness. He said most people, if you asked them what they were doing with their lives, would mutter, I don't know stuff. Just everything. Sound familiar? Emails, notifications, tiny fires, calls. You're in motion all day, but by the end, you're still not closer to what matters. That's not productivity. That's noise masquerading as progress. And it kills your focus. Because here's the hard truth. You can't focus on what matters if you don't know what matters. Seneca warned us. If you do not know what port you are sailing toward, no wind is favorable. So what port are you aiming for? What really counts? If you can't answer, it's no wonder you're overwhelmed. Because every distraction feels urgent. Every request feels equal. But they're not. And that's the first discipline of focus, deciding what doesn't deserve it. This is why Eisenhower, the general turned president, used a simple matrix. Urgent versus important. Because the world will always scream for your attention. But the essential whispers. You have to choose to hear it. You have to be brave enough to subtract. Want to focus better? Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Don't just work harder, work with intention. Don't just do more, do less, better. Because the truth is, most of your stress doesn't come from how much you have to do. It comes from doing too many things that don't matter. 7. Walk it off, the ancient art of moving to think. You want to focus? Then get up. Get out. Start walking. Yes, walking. In a world obsessed with hacks and apps and time-blocking tools, it sounds almost ridiculous. But the greatest thinkers in history knew. The mind follows the feet. Seneca, surrounded by the chaos of Rome, didn't just sit and suffer. He got up. He walked. He let the city roar behind him and found stillness in motion. Kierkegaard once said, I have walked myself into my best thoughts. Nietzsche, he claimed that all truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. Darwin walked. Thoreau walked. Steve Jobs walked. Martin Luther King took a 1-hour walk through the woods every day to reset his mind. Why? Because motion brings clarity. Because sometimes the fastest way to focus is to slow down. Ryan Holiday put it simply, in stillness is the key. The body that's in motion creates a mind that's in motion purposefully, intentionally. A walking mind is a working mind. In the noise of your desk, the pressure of the screen, the clutter of obligations, it's easy to get stuck. But when you walk, something shifts. The tension unravels. The brain breathes. You're not running away from your work. You're circling it, giving it space to show you what really matters. There's even a Latin phrase for this. Solvitur ambulando. It is solved by walking. So next time you hit a wall, don't force it. Don't scroll it away. Put on your shoes. Step outside. Leave your phone behind. And walk not to escape, but to return. Return to what matters. 8. Be clueless on purpose. If you want to do deep work, be prepared to look dumb. No, seriously, because real focus, it demands something radical in today's world. The courage to not know the latest political drama, not know the trending Netflix doc, not know the scandal everyone's gossiping about. If you wish to improve, Epictetus said, you must be content to be seen as foolish and ignorant about some matters. That's not easy. It's awkward at dinner when everyone's debating the news and you say, wait, what happened? But here's the twist. That discomfort is your proof. Proof that your focus is intact. That you're tuning out what doesn't matter to tune in to what does. Ryan Holiday tells the story of Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art. He was so locked into his writing, he missed the entire Watergate scandal. Only found out Nixon resigned when a friend told him, long after the fact. Was he embarrassed? No. He was proud, because what he didn't know gave him the space to create something timeless. So let me ask, do you know what the market did today? What celebrities are fighting? What side won the latest culture war? If so, that might not be a flex. That might be a red flag. Unless you're a CIA agent or hedge fund manager, you probably don't need that much information that fast. As Ryan writes in Stillness is the key. The more informed we are, the more biased we become. The more plugged in we are, the more overwhelmed we feel. So try this. Turn off notifications. Leave group chats. Unfollow news cycles that don't change your day or your character. Let yourself be out of the loop. Because every time you say no to a news update, you're saying yes to your work, your stillness, your clarity. And if you're not missing anything, maybe you're not focused enough. 9. Adjust the lens. Sometimes it's not the thing, it's how you're looking at it. Focus isn't just about what you look at. It's about how you look at it. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most. He said we should take Plato's view of life, zooming way out to see everything from above. From that height, the things that seem overwhelming, they shrink. That fight, that email, that deadline, that drama, it's not that they disappear, but when you see them in the context of everything, they lose their grip on you. See how small it all is, Marcus wrote. The lives of others, your worries, the urgency, all of it fleeting, passing. Sometimes that's what you need, a wide-angle lens, a cosmic perspective, a breath of detachment, but not always. Other times, the Stoics tell us to zoom in, to lock onto the task in front of us as if it's the only thing in the world, to narrow our attention so sharply nothing else exists. That's also focus, and wisdom is knowing when to switch modes. Think of it like a camera. Too wide and nothing is clear. Too close and you lose the context. But adjust the focus just right and everything sharpens. Ryan Holiday calls this perspective as power. The world is the same, he writes. It's how you see it that changes everything. Feeling overwhelmed? Zoom out. Feeling scattered? Zoom in. You're not stuck. You're just using the wrong lens. So play with it. Practice it. In the middle of chaos, ask, am I too close to this? Or not close enough? And just like that click, you'll see the world more clearly. Not because the world changed, but because you did. 10. Focus like it's the last thing you'll ever do. There's a Stoic practice that few people have the courage to really face. But if you want unshakable focus, you must face it. Memento mori, remember, you will die. Sounds morbid? Maybe. But in truth, it's one of the most powerful focusing tools ever known. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow." We always think we have time. Time to start. Time to fix it. Time to get serious. But do we? Ryan Holiday puts it this way: if you had one shot left in you, how would you take it? When a man knows he's to be hanged in a fortnight, Samuel Johnson said, it concentrates his mind wonderfully. So here's the challenge. Live like that before the diagnosis. Focus like that before the clock runs out. Choose like that now. Because if you wouldn't spend your last day arguing with strangers online, or scrolling Twitter, or answering emails that don't matter, why are you spending today that way? The Stoics weren't obsessed with death. They were obsessed with what death reveals. What matters? What doesn't? What's worth your focus, your energy, your life? So here's your call. Do this task in front of you like it's your final contribution. Speak this truth like it's your last chance to be honest. Live this day like you won't get another. Because one day you won't. And when that day comes, you'll want to know you spent your focus well. With clarity, with courage, with purpose. 11. Guard your energy like a warrior, not a martyr. Most people don't burn out from working too hard. They burn out from giving too much to the wrong things. We confuse generosity with surrender. We confuse being available with being valuable. We give our energy to anyone who asks, anything that pings, everything that seems urgent. And in the end, there's nothing left for what really matters. The Stoics saw this coming. Associate with those who will make a better man of you, Seneca wrote. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. But he warned, be careful. Some people take endlessly. Some demands look urgent, but they're hollow. And if you're not careful, they'll drain your soul while thanking you for your time. That's why Stoic focus isn't just about where your attention goes. It's about who and what gets access to your energy in the first place. Ryan Holiday puts it like this: you are the gatekeeper of your own mind. You decide who gets in and who stays out. So ask yourself, who interrupts your focus but never builds it? What responsibilities have you accepted that were never really yours? Which habits or people or rituals replenish you and which quietly consume you? If focus is a resource, then so is your presence. Protect it. Budget it. Don't waste your best on the unworthy. The warrior doesn't fight every battle. He chooses the ones that matter. He trains for the worthy fight and walks away from noise dressed as purpose. So don't be a martyr to distraction. Be a guardian of your own fire. Because when you guard your energy like a warrior, that's when your focus becomes unstoppable. 12. Schedule the sacred, make time for what can't be measured. Ask someone what they're focusing on this week, and they'll list meetings, tasks, deadlines. Ask what they're neglecting, and they'll pause. Then maybe whisper, time for myself, for my mind, for what fills me. We measure our days in deliverables. But what about the unmeasurable? What about silence? What about reading something that doesn't earn money? What about time with your child, not documented, not posted, just lived? The Stoics would ask, are you doing what is essential, or just what's expected? Seneca didn't just write to impress. He wrote to reflect, to wrestle with himself, to preserve a sense of inner clarity in the middle of a burning empire. Ryan Holiday says, if you don't schedule time for reflection, you've scheduled time for reaction. In other words, if your calendar only holds what others demand, your life is already no longer yours. So here's the practice. Start scheduling the sacred. Not just what earns, what endures. Time to walk without a podcast. Time to think without responding. time to read without a goal, time to just be with no justification required. Because here's the paradox. The things that restore your focus often look like nothing on the outside, but internally they are everything. Make them non-negotiable. Treat them like the most important meeting of your life, because they are. 13. Begin again. Focus is not a trait, it's a daily choice. You lost focus today. You scrolled too long. You snapped at someone. You drifted into things that didn't matter. So what? Begin again. The Stoics never expected perfection. They expected effort. They expected vigilance. They expected you to wake up as many times as it takes. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "When you find your mind has wandered, bring it back. Be neither disheartened nor lazy in doing it again and again." That's the hidden truth about focus. It's not about being a productivity machine. It's about learning to return. Return to what matters. Return to the moment. Return to the task, the principle, the you that's trying to live with intention. Ryan Holiday calls this the discipline to start over, the strength to choose again, because no matter how chaotic things get, no matter how scattered your thoughts become, you can always choose again. Right now, this breath, this moment, that's what makes Stoic focus different. It's not rigid. It's not obsessed with streaks or hacks or flawless routines. It's humble. It's forgiving. It's human. You're not trying to win the war in your head once and for all. You're trying to win this hour, this minute, this next choice. And if you fail, that's fine. Begin again. This is the work of a lifetime. Focus is not a trick. It's not a productivity tool. It's a way of living. It's a declaration. I will not be owned. I will not be pulled in every direction. I will choose what matters. The Stoics didn't live in quiet cabins or minimalist apps. They lived in cities, in empires, in courts and chaos. Just like you, just like me. And still they trained the mind. They mastered the moment. They fought the quiet war inside every single day. Now it's your turn. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to be present. You just have to begin again. So if this video resonated with you, don't let it stop here. Leave a comment below. Which of the 13 principles hit you the hardest? Which one will you practice today? And if you know anyone struggling to focus, to stay centered, to reclaim themselves in a world that wants to scatter them, share this video. Send them this compass. Subscribe to the channel for more Stoic tools, timeless wisdom, and grounded guidance for modern life. And until next time, stay strong, stay steady, stay focused. This isn't about watching one more video. This is about becoming someone new.